This truth is one of the most important truths you need to get for your mental health. I've done counseling now for almost 20 years, roughly or so, for the individuals and couples. I've been through it myself. I've done life coaching as well, individual. I've read countless books, the degrees, on and on. I tell you what, there are things through the years I've come back to over and over and over. We kind of get through all the theory, which is important, to the practice and the function. And I like that. I like the common sense, get to the brass tacks. And one of the most important things I have learned that's true when human mental health is this. Human versus canine mental health or feline. They're very different. Dog health is very... You are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. If you've ever had cognitive behavioral therapy, if you've ever gone to counseling, you should have heard this kind of thing before, but most people have not. You are not your thoughts. Now, that's very important. This is not a simple, trite phrase. Just unpack this, as some people say, just for a moment. The real you is not just a person who's full of every thought that comes into your mind. As a Christian, I'm a mind-body dualist. I believe we have a soul and a body. We are a physical, ensouled body unit, and that the soul has the rational capacity. The soul has rational capacity to think, reason, have a will. We call that faculty of the soul the mind. Well, the mind is where we think. The problem, of course, is that our mind can do some crazy things, and sometimes our brain, which interacts with the mind, absolutely, like a hand and a glove interact with one another. Sometimes the brain can also surface various chemicals and so forth to cause us to think certain things. And we have things called intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts are thoughts we were not trying to think of. They kind of came out of the blue. And oftentimes our intrusive thoughts are negative or catastrophic, or we would consider them in our value system bad or scary. And oftentimes you feel some guilt, like, why did I just think that? What's going on? What's wrong with me? Why did I do that? Well, there might be something wrong with you. Obviously we're sinners and so forth, and we need God's grace. The point is, though, that intrusive thoughts are very common, and they don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. Why don't they mean anything? Because you're not your thoughts. Thoughts come and go. And the reason why this is so profoundly important is, I guarantee you, if you don't understand this, you are probably struggling from depression. You're probably struggling from a low self-esteem. I could go constant duress and stress. It is not because you are in a state of just sadness. Depression is not caused by sadness. Terrible anxiety is not caused just by sadness. I guarantee you, my pathetic savings account, that the struggle you're having is with negative, irrational thoughts that are coming into your mind. Not just intrusive thoughts, but also thoughts that come to your mind, and then you hold on to them. And that's my second major point of intrusive thoughts. One is, or any thoughts. One is, sometimes they're intrusive, they just come out of nowhere. The second thing is, people tend to hold on to them, and we make so much of them. We give them extra weight and extra authority. And we go, I can't believe I just thought that. And maybe I am a loser. Well, I am a loser. Think about it. I am a loser. I lost my job, or no one really likes me. Oh my goodness. And then we replay it and we replay it and we replay it over and over and over and over again. It's the replaying it over and over and over again that makes you go into depression. That's what makes the anxiety skyrocket. In the moment, you're not going through trauma. For most of us, most of the time of our lives, it's all in our mind. So if you could really grasp the fact that you are not your thoughts, you don't have to give so much authority to them. The third major point of this is, when you don't give authority to them, you get to decide whether you believe them or not. Now, you and I do this all the time. We don't do it all the time in our minds, though, but we do it all the time in the real world. If a person who doesn't know me at all, let's say some drunk hobo on the street, says, you're an ugly lowlife and you have no friends and you'll never amount to nothing. Well, some of you might get your feelings hurt, but most people would say, it's this drunk hobo, they don't know me at all. It doesn't matter. You heard someone else's thought make it to your mind, then you chose to reject it because you deemed it as false. False. That's a bully, hateful thing for someone to say, and it's false. So I choose to disregard it. In your mind, though, I bet most of the time you don't do that. If you struggle with depression and high anxiety and low self-esteem, you don't do that. You never differentiate between a thought that you should disregard and disbelieve and dismiss and refute versus a thought you want to keep. because it's true and you believe it. And this is exactly at core of why it's so important for us to understand we're not our thoughts. We have the ability and authority, and in practice, we do it all the time, to distinguish between those thoughts we want to hold on to and the thoughts we don't want to hold on to. Now, there are various theories of how to fix that, how to work with our thoughts. I'm going to do another video on that to help encourage you and help you on that. What do I do when I have those thoughts? David, what are some tips of how to let those thoughts go? I'm going to give those to you. You got to stay tuned and watch the next video I'm going to do. That will tell you exactly some real world great tips that I give to people all the time in counseling, and I do it myself, that help tremendously. So what is it? You are not your thoughts. You need to replay that over and over and over and over again, because it's true. And you get to decide whether or not you want to hold on that thought or not. And again, some thoughts are just crazy and those are intrusive. That happens to everybody. You're not crazy if that happens. We'll talk about what to do with those things next time around. If you like this video, please share this with your friends, someone who might need to hear this, someone who might be struggling. If you'd like to financially support my ministry, go to my website, davidpendergrass.com. There are good ways to help support the ministry so I can keep these videos free. God bless you, and I do hope to see you next time.